welcome to Michigan Football at the Voice of College Football. I am one of the post-game hosts and weekly contributors, Desmond. I am here with my partner, Dre, who is also a post-game host and weekly contributor. Before we get started, please like and subscribe and also share the video out to social media. It helps our channel grow. We just crossed the 5,000 subscriber threshold and are working to be the #1 team in the college football Voice College Football Network. Also, subscribe to Mark's main channel, The Voice of College Football, and join his Discord, where you can talk not only college football, but also NFL football 24/7, 365. Thanks so much for joining us. Dre, how we doing, man?
Overall, pretty good. Definitely a lot closer game than myself, and I'm sure a lot of Michigan fans would have wanted. But you know what? I'll say a necessary game. Necessary game for different reasons. I think a necessary game for getting a feel for where this team is today. I think it's probably a necessary game for that locker room as well, to kind of see where they stand and see what the things they need to work on. And, hey, let them know that, hey, this is Big Boy season. This is the Big Ten season now. And this is how you really stack up thus far versus real competition. Let's be honest. We've been consistent with this, Des, and some people have liked it and not liked it. In terms of, look, their first 3 games were against those scrimmages. Terrible opponents, right? Very low caliber. So definitely today had, I'll say, I'll give it a C+. Of course, going to it, I know you will too, it's a C+ game to me. A couple bright spots, but a lot of question marks and a lot of spotty play, and we'll talk about it.
We definitely will. You gave me a call at halftime, and what did you say about this game at that point, at halftime?
I said survive in advance. I could tell, you could tell by the way the first half was going that this was the type of game where Maryland, I believe, came to play. I mean, and I'll say that just purely based on the fact of how more disciplined they were this week compared to last week. Last week they had 15 penalties for 140 plus yards. Today I think they had maybe 1, 2 tops in terms of penalties. They would play a way more disciplined football game this week. Maryland came to play, and I think Michigan was a little bit more sloppy, pretty much on all sides of the ball, especially defensively. I mean, on the first half, they couldn't get any pressure, and I'm like, you know what? This has to feel one of those games that we're going to have to try to grind and survive. Maybe I was trying to have a little hindsight, a big picture outlook, at halftime. Maybe this is one of those games where, on paper, it doesn't make sense that it's tight, but for whatever reason, we're struggling to make it through. Let's just try to get to the finish line, get the win, take a step back, look at the film, and see what we need to do to get ready for Iowa. And I'm not normally like that, but it felt like one of those type of games.
And what I feel like is we have flip-flopped on our stance. And here's what I mean by that. When I posed the question to you before the season started of what is this team's ceiling? What if all the breaks go their way, the things that you need to happen go your way, you have when it comes to winning a national championship, you need some luck in that. And we talked about what is the ceiling, and yours was essentially a replica of last year, getting to the playoff, losing that first playoff game. And my thought was there's no reason that Michigan can't win a national championship. They have the talent, they have the guy at quarterback, they have the weapons on offense, they have the O-line. They have what you need to win a national championship. This game today was not it. This was not it. This was not a survive in advance. You were better than Maryland, and you struggled the entire game. I mean, think about this, Dre. If that opening kickoff fumble does not happen, you go into the half down 13-10. You're losing that game if you're not handed a touchdown. That is about as close to, outside of a scoop and score, that's as close to handing a team a touchdown as you will ever get. And you went down, you're going into the half, and I get it. You're winning the game, so it doesn't matter. It's 17-13, but you were way better than Maryland. But Maryland came out and threw the ball. I mean, Here's the difficult part for me. If it was just they had success on offense by throwing the ball, I could live with that. But they had success running the ball as well. Like this, to me, this is a bit of a concerning game for me if I'm looking at Michigan as if they potentially can win a Big Ten title, a national championship. Because to me, I think, and I would imagine everybody who's viewing us right now would also agree, Ohio State's a better offense than what you've dealt with today. And if you're telling me that 27 points, and granted there were some, scores in garbage time, so is what it is. But if you're telling me Maryland can get 27 on you and you scored 34 on them, also with that gimme touchdown, I have concerns. I have a lot of concerns. And I get it, and maybe today's just funky, right? Because Clemson beat Wake Forest by a touchdown. So maybe it's just a weird day, but this doesn't make me feel good. This doesn't make I think you'll be fine against Iowa and things like that. But when we're talking about playing the best of the best in the Big Ten, this doesn't make me feel great. You know what I mean?
Right, and by no means was I insinuating that when I was saying
correct
in advance. I was talking about in the moment. Now, in terms of what this means for the trajectory of this team, look, this was not a good sign, right? JJ, you know how JJ looked today? He looked exactly how he should look, right? And part of the reason why we told people, hey, pump the brakes on JJ has arrived. Michigan's about to take the next step. Now, hear me clearly. That's not to say that it won't happen, but this kid is young. He doesn't have a lot of starter experience. It's a different deal. He's going to go through growing pains. And you saw that today. For God's sakes, please get down. JJ has to learn when to kill plays and when to extend them. He is not only going to create additional turnover opportunities, which he did today. He fumbled and he actually threw a pick, but the guy didn't get his foot down. I mean, either or, he got himself killed trying to make another play again today. Those are the type of things where he has to learn, and hopefully this is one of those really good learning experiences. Because as the competition level rises, the margin of error won't be as big. So, but it's good. At the end of the day, they won, and it's good that he's got that experience. Now, what I would like to see, and I think Michigan fans need to expect, is that he actually shows that he's learned from it. So what I'm going to see JJ do in the following weeks is those times when guys aren't open, don't be afraid to check it down more, right? Go get to the checkdowns quicker. Or when you're scrambling and nothing's there, get the ball out your hands, man. Stop taking hits we don't have to, right? Those are things that have to get better. He looked exactly how he's supposed to look. Talented. He made some really good plays today, but also he's young and he's growing. Blake Corum, we know that he's a beast. We know that he's fantastic, right? And when Donovan Edwards comes back, and it sounds like for reports that he's expected to play next week, that 1-2 tandem is going to be one of the best, not just the best in the Big Ten, but probably one of the best in the country. Okay, so there are a lot of positive outlooks, right? Defensively, there were some bright spots.
Blake,
but like, I don't want to go down
terrific. Blake looks terrific. That dude. And it's interesting because he's not very big. Obviously, we know he's not very big in stature, but he seems to be one of those running backs that even with having a massive amount of carries, because 30 carries in a game in today's college football, that's essentially kind of the 40-45 carries 10 years ago. That's a lot of carries. But he never seems to get any of the big hits on him, like the kill shots, and you know what I mean? And maybe poor terminology, but the big hits to where it's like it really wears on you. He does a really good job of, he carries his pads well, runs well, finds the holes. He's a really, really good running back. And I agree. When Edwards comes back, it's gonna be big. But one thing I need to address, because listen, like I said, I preface this with the person who thought Michigan could go the furthest if all breaks go their way was myself. But the amount of Maryland needs to get credit. They're really good, so on and so forth. On our Wednesday show, I saw none of that. On our Wednesday show, what I saw was Michigan's going to win this game 47-10. This is not even going to be close, so on and so forth. That's what our viewers came with on Wednesday. So I don't want to hear the hindsight of, oh, you know what, this team's really good, because
No.
the team that showed up on Saturday is the same team that you said you would beat by 30 something points on Wednesday. So
Yeah.
I don't want to. I would like us to be consistent in what we are saying.
Yeah, you know what, Des? Well, I think ultimately what it is it's a little bit of a gray area. I think Maryland is definitely a better team than what Michigan saw last year. I think that is for certain.
Absolutely.
I think part of it is, when we'll look back, is this is the Big Ten opener. Uh, in terms of who they were playing, a big jump in competition. So a little bit of an adjustment to that for Michigan. And this different speed, stuff like that, athleticism, and just I think a little bit of sloppiness, right? And also play calling as well. I think was a little bit questionable, especially on offense. So I think it was a little bit of a mixture as to why the game was a little bit closer today. And throughout the course of the year, look, Des, you've seen it with Alabama, right? With Texas. Against Texas, right?
They
Through the
looked
course of the year,
they looked abysmal, and Texas looked really good. So yes, that's
exactly.
correct.
Yeah, you can have games like that. So I'm not saying you are too. I'm not panicking per se.
But here's the thing: when that game happened, right? So in our conversations just off stream, because we don't typically talk Alabama, at any point did I tell you, yeah, we should beat Texas by 3 touchdowns? Did I ever tell you that? You're reading the comments now. Did I ever tell you, but in our personal conversations, that we should beat Texas by 3 touchdowns? Or did I tell you we need to take care of business and do what we need to do?
You never, you personally, I can give you guys insight to how Desmond is. He never really focuses on the opponent. He always focuses on his team, and it's always like, this is the moment, stay in the moment, be fundamentally
Saban's got me trained. Saban's got me well trained.
Exactly. Focus in on your opponent and take care of your business. Focus on and take care of what you can control. So that's how you look at things. I understand that. But no, I was just saying that, hindsight, it could have been just a sloppy game, and we'll see. But it is, look, they survived. There still are some, JJ, even though, he has some spotty decisions, he overthrew a couple guys, and he has to work on that touch for the deep shots down the field. But at the end of the day, he was 18 for 26, threw for 200 plus yards, 2 touchdowns. It says no picks. He probably should have had at least one pick. If the guy got his foot down, but you know what? That doesn't.
I'm not gonna to punish a guy for an almost. You know what I mean?
Only reason I bring it up is because it was across the field throw. It was across the field. So those were one of those decisions where he underthrew. Ronnie Bell was on the opposite side of the field, and he tried to get the ball there. And we all know that's typically a quarterback no-no. Trying to make throws across the field, it's tough to do. And you always run that risk of guys undercutting the ball for interception. And that was an inch away from happening today. So those are the things. It didn't hurt them, but it could, right? So,
Dre, Mr. Jones says, even the bad in this game is good. You guys are just pessimistic.
Who? So, hold on. So, Mr. Jones, even the bad in this game is good. Y'all just pessimistic.
To me, so here's one of the bad.
What we said? Hold on. Has Mr. Jones? Have you heard what we said? I'm saying I preface all my statements by saying they survived today. I think at the end, I actually think this was good for them, like to struggle, which is I think what you're trying to say. So we're not just complaining about them. We're saying, hey, these are the things that didn't go well. They survived, but if they want to repeat what they did last year, they better clean it up. That's all we're saying.
Here's what I'll say. Some of the bad is JJ, whether you want to say extending the play or holding the ball too long and taking shots. He took, I would say, probably 3 big shots in this game. One of them, he kind of got submarined a little bit. They didn't really focus on it was a flag was thrown, and I thought it was gonna be for roughing the passer. They ended up picking up the flag. The fumble, he got hit pretty. I mean, he got hit flush, like helmet to helmet. If you want to argue it should have been a penalty, we can argue about that. But nonetheless, like, and then there was another one where he just kind of he is trying to get the home run, and I understand it 100%. You want to hit those
But they
big
were
plays,
open, Des. Like it
but
wasn't like they weren't open. They were always like the two times he overshot Roman. Roman had a step and a
but I'm
half.
not talking about those though.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
not talking
okay.
about those plays. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking about the ones where there's a balance at the end of the day. You know what I mean? There's a balance to where to me the 20% chance of me maybe hitting the home run in the deep ball if I can extend it, or the 60% chance of me just checking it down to Blake Corum or CJ Stokes in the future Donovan Edwards, and those guys getting 5 or 6 yards. Like I think what the QB coach and the OC need to do is just encourage JJ of that's not a negative play. You know what I mean? Like hitting a check down, because the running backs that Michigan has in their running back room are dynamic. So hitting Blake Corum for a 1 yard check down, Dre, you never know what that might end up being. That could easily be 15-yard gain, 20-yard gain, 40-yard gain. Like you know what I mean? Like him and Donovan Edwards are that dynamic where those guys can do that. So I think for JJ, because he's not a huge kid, like I think he's pretty tall, but he's not overly, you know what I mean? Like he's not a guy physically. I look at like DJ Uiagalelei. He's not that, 6'5", 230, 240. So he's just got to be careful and cautious of the hits that he takes. Now, if this is last week of the season and you're playing Ohio State and you need every single point, put it all out on the line. That's something totally different. But we've got a big chunk of games coming up where the living to play another down is a win. You know what I mean? Because we talked about it when you called me at halftime. The last thing you want is, for example, that the fumble that happened when he gets hit flush, kind of helmet to helmet, face mask to face mask, for him to get into concussion protocol and him sit for 2 weeks. Like that's not a mild ankle sprain where you just know, like, okay, well, he'll be fine, he'll get some rest, ice, all that, tape it up, he'll be good to go. Like you never know how that's gonna end up. That could be 3 weeks, right? So and I'm looking at worst case scenario, absolutely, but that's reality, right? Like we see it all the time where it happens, right? So that's
We
that's
seen two
my
Michigan
thing.
we seen two Michigan quarterbacks get pinned in two at Wisconsin. So I mean, like
Right?
we've
Yeah.
seen it. Yeah. So it's like off one hit, like you said, there's one hit. So look, it's critical that he learns and figures it out, because, and I just don't want to be one of those situations that the way he learns is that the hard way, which is by actually
Right.
getting hit hard and getting hurt.
Right.
I hope it doesn't take that for
Correct.
himself and for Michigan. But yeah, I mean, especially going at Iowa. We can joke about Iowa all we want to, but they always have a very solid defense. They're very physical, and you don't want to be messing around and
We're not doing
like
that.
that. Yeah,
We're not doing that.
you.
We're
I'm
not.
not.
We're not.
I'm
We're
not.
not Iowa in this right now. We're not doing
I
that.
know. Okay.
I
I'm
don't.
just making
Nope.
I'm
We're not
making a
doing that.
point. Okay, I'm making a point in terms of
We are
just being
not.
smart.
Because
Just being smart.
yes, being smart.
Yeah, that's all I'm trying to
Being
say.
smart.
But look, I thought in the first half, one area that I was really concerned with was the lack of pass rush. They weren't getting home to Talia at all. And I give them credit; they got a lot better at that in the second half. To me, the defensive player of the game is probably a tie between. I mean, I thought it was like a three-way tie between Maji Smith. I thought Sanders still makes some really good plays today. Carlson was there, and heck, I throw in a fourth person, and it's because he didn't call his name much. and I'm going to go DJ Turner.
I thought
And,
DJ played well. I thought he
and
played
here's what I'll
really
say about
well.
DJ. DJ got the pick, which some people say is not a pick, but whatever. He
It's
got a pick.
right.
He got a pick. But you know why I know DJ had a really good game? You didn't really see him when heard his name called most of the game.
Correct.
And I noticed, I'm like, man, I haven't seen DJ out here at all. Like in terms of the camera, you know why? Because his guy's not open. His guy's not getting thrown. Talia's not throwing the ball his way. So that
Correct.
tells me that DJ played fantastic, which is great. Because he's one of those, him and Mozzie Smith, were those guys on Bruce Feldman's freak list, right?
Yep. He
So
was
you
on there.
want to see, you saw Mozzie Smith having some dominant plays today, really asserting himself.
Mike
Right?
Morris looked really good.
Mike
He had
Morris
some
looked
big
really
plays.
good.
Yeah.
And Talia, I don't know, maybe he was just hype. He's a little different than Tua. I mean, he's a little bit hyper than Tua is.
Yeah.
But apparently Jenny Taz said they tried to hurt me. Maybe he just trying to be hype, but I don't think it's a dirty hit by Mike Morris. I just think Talia is very small.
No.
And Mike Morris is
agree.
a big man. And
it just kind of happened. Like he got hit on the hip. Like I don't. Yeah, there was zero kind of ill will on that. It's like I'm trying to punish the quarterback. Like that is what you absolutely should do, is try to punish him. There was nothing dirty about that. So yeah, I agree. And I want to say Kellen Sandifer, thank you so much for the super chat. Says his takeaways are: number one, JJ's issues can be fixed. Number two,
Yes.
pass rush issues. Number three, transfer OLB needs to start. Ooh, that's interesting.
Probably referring to Onoma or Oki. Is it Oki now? I think it's Oki.
I think Oki is the new term, but Onoma.
Oki.
And then four, this game lets Michigan see what to work on.
That's what we're trying to say. That's what we've been saying.
I'll go straight to number three. Like what I'm interested to see what our viewers think. We got 133 on the line. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that Onoma needs to start at that kind of outside linebacker, pass rush position? I mean, it's interesting. What are your thoughts on it?
I don't know about start, but definitely I think he should be in the mix a little bit more on third downs.
Let me see if I can find how many.
It was a
plays
play today where he jumped off the line of scrimmage so fast off the snap, and he missed Otalia, but he got back there so fast he caused a lot of pressure. And you saw the elite talent type of flash in him. Now, look, at the end of the day, there's a reason why he's not starting, right? It's probably because he's not consistent with all the other.
Well, I was going to say, part of it is probably just he was a late ad. I mean, he got added right. Sure. I mean, what was that, right before training camp? He was a very late ad as far as transfers go.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, look, we're not in practice. We're not seeing, so I'm sure there's a reason why he's not in there. He's not starting, per se, so I don't really care about starting. But I do believe, Kellen, that he should be in the mix more with obvious passing situations because that's a very simple job. There's not a lot of context, not a lot of concepts that go into that. It's literally dig in, go get the quarterback, and that's it. So, I do agree. JJ's issues being fixed, absolutely. JJ's issues, to me, is a lot more about repetition and coaching up. It's not physical with him. He has all the physical ability that you need to be successful. It's going to be repetitions. Like some of those balls he overthrew today, he should get better at that in terms of touches, the touch on it, right? Coaching up. Hey, kid, look, when we're in our film session, Harbaugh or Matt Weiss, who I think is the quarterback, offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, he needs to tell JJ, if he hasn't already has, it's like, look, you got to get rid of this ball. That you took an unnecessary sack, caused a fumble, right? Put yourself in a very bad position where you could have got really hurt, right? We don't need that. Let's survive another play and get the ball at your hands. Or situations where, look, if a team is doing what Maryland did today, is where they're playing a lot of deep zone, not letting us get a lot of shots down the field, you got to kind of take what's in front of us, right? Take the little hitch route. Take the check route down, and let's just keep moving down the field. We have a lot of playmakers. Just get the ball in our guys' hands and let them do their job. And if there's anything that he can learn from his teammate, Cade McNamara, is that you still can be very effective at times with checking the ball down. You just don't want to get in the habit of doing that all the time. So if there's anything you can learn from Cade is, you know what, sometimes take what the defense gives you and move on, right? And then when you do see that opportunity to take a shot, let it rip and let's work on that touch a little bit. So I agree totally that JJ's issues can be fixed.
And what I will say is all of the deep shots that JJ took were, and I know you're not saying like he shouldn't have done it, but all of the deep shots he took, you had it. You know what I mean? Like you had a shot at all of them. I don't think any of them were a poor decision of throwing the ball down the field. You know what I mean? Like I said, I don't think you were saying that, but it just like all of them were there, and some of it is just you in practice, things may be a little bit slower where you may get a chance to kind of, you take your 3-step drop, kind of hitch, and then throw it deep. If that's right on the money in practice, sometimes in the games, your adrenaline is pumping. So you just move a little bit quicker. And that same motion, right? You take 3-step drop, hitch, throw. Well, if you're speeding yourself up a little bit, especially for JJ, then what sometimes happens is you miss it by a half yard because you're just a little bit faster than what you are in practice. But I don't have any real concerns. I think he'll be fine. You just need to throw more deep balls, and that's how you complete more deep balls. So no concerns there. It really, the main concern for it to me is JJ protecting himself, because there's a balance that of extending the play to try to get a home run, and then just extending a play and either taking that check down or just running, get a yard, get out of bounds. Like just kind of positive plays. Those things he's I think he's used to being the most athletic guy on the field, to where nobody can catch me and I can just run around. And you're getting into Big Ten play now, where he is absolutely one of the top 3-4 athletic guys on the field, but you're not number one, and you can't just outrun any and everybody. So he's just got to be cautious. That's all. You just protect yourself. QB coach, I'm sure when they have film tomorrow, we'll talk about it, and just, hey man, right here, like when you're, because on that fumble, he was rolling left, then he slipped a little bit, and then went to throw it and got hit. Look, once you start rolling left, just keep going. And if no one's there, just throw it out of bounds. We're fine, man. Live to play another down. We're fine. I don't remember what down that was called. Whatever. It's second down. All right, let's get to third down. I got to play for you. Don't worry. So you don't have to be a hero. And I say that in the most positive way, because Michigan has a lot of playmakers. You have guys who can do it with you. Like you don't have to put on the cape. There's going to be moments where you need to, but play in and play out, you got Ronnie Bell, you got Roman Wilson, you got Blake Corum, you got Eric Schoonmaker. Like you have guys who can make plays for you. So you don't have to be Superman. Like you don't have to do this all on your own, man. Like we've got guys who can help you.
Yeah, and like I said, that should get better. As you were talking, I was listening and also looking at some of the comments. And guys, I know I brought up Cade's name. This is not a referendum. I wasn't using Cade as some kind of referendum on JJ. Okay, so stop attacking Cade. Or he would have lost it. Like no one is saying that Cade should have started. I was simply saying that if there's something that JJ could learn from Cade, is sometimes, even Joe Klatt brought this up. Like the one reason, like this was earlier in the game, the one positive about having Cade, and maybe a reason why JJ took a long time to take over, was that Cade was more than willing, albeit too much, will be willing to take the check down and take the quickest, I guess, or closest guy to him, and sometimes get the ball out of his hands. Let's get a couple positive yards. Let's stay on schedule, right? That's all I was saying. I'm not saying. So please, there's no point to attack Cade here. Okay, Cade had his time. Looks like he had his time here in terms of being a starter. And it is what it is. But we don't have to, attack Cade to uplift JJ. Just saying.
Well, and some people, let me see, in '89, Dr. Funk put Michigan offense will see a ton of zone moving forward. I agree, 1,000%. Oh, yeah. And not that it's a formula to beat you, right? But that's teams are gonna if I see that running zone just essentially makes you less effective, right? Because Michigan scored 34 today. They had scored 50 plus every single game, before this. So if I just know that all right, play, or maybe not even know. If I have a suspicion that playing zone can, instead of you scoring 55, you score 35, well, I'm gonna take that shot. And there's no guarantee because it's football, and you may not even have the athletes to do that. But if that is something that slowed you down in this game, you can almost guarantee that teams are going to replicate that. And and I think too, like, not to make it seem as if Michigan's offensive staff has no idea about that. Like, they know that too, right? So they are gonna coach up JJ and coach up the receivers that, listen, man, we're gonna see a lot of zone, guys. So let's get ready for it. Iowa's gonna play a lot of zone because guess what? We scored 34 last game, and Maryland played a lot of zone. So they're gonna try to replicate that type of success. Not that they're gonna be successful, but that's life. Like, football is a copycat league in the NFL and college as well. So I do agree with what 89 Dr. Funk says.
Yeah, I mean, like, it just forced JJ to be impatient. Especially you have a quarterback back there that wants to take shots down the field. Force him to go against what he wants to do, right, and then kind of go from there. Um,
We got some wild comments that I'm
I
trying to get
know.
caught up on.
I
JJ
guess it's something.
sucks.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh.
That
Anyway,
is
I
wild.
won't
That's
even
wild.
give that a response. I saw some interesting comments about CJ, and yeah, CJ did not get back in after he fumbled that ball. That was it. And
I mean, that was a close game. What do you
it's a close
expect? You
game,
know what I
and,
mean?
and,
Like,
and he's a
no.
and I think he's a true. I believe he's a true freshman. He's young,
Hmm.
and he's in a stacked running backs room. And no, close game, gotta have it game. We just can't afford for you to put the ball on the ground like that.
Wasn't that his
And
first carry of the game
that
too?
was his first carry of the
Like,
game, literally,
yo,
Blake, and
come
that's
on,
why
man.
Blake got such a high look. They tried to spell Blake and put in CJ, and granted, up to this point, albeit with lesser competition, CJ played. We brought him up on Wednesday's show.
Hmm.
CJ did show
Look
really good
good.
promise as a third string guy behind Donovan Edwards. Um, so I mean, it's unfortunate, but the kid will bounce back from it. But no, that's how it is. Sometimes, when we have a guy who's ripping the other team to shreds like Blake Corum, like, what? Especially most of the games, it was close pretty much all game. We can't afford them to turn over like that. We just got to ride Blake, and he'll hit the ice tub after he's done and move on
Yep.
because we can't afford to have another mistake like that. And I'm pretty confident CJ probably wouldn't have fumbled again today, but it is what it is. He'll learn, and he'll eventually play again. It happens.
Agreed. Motown D Town, thank you so much for the super chat. Says Mike Morris is too big to play the outside. Going up to 290 was a bad idea. What are your thoughts on that, Dre?
Well, possibly. Look, he is a big boy. I tell you that much. He's a big boy. He made a play today. Um, I don't know. I don't get too much into it. This defensive line, I think, is still trying to find its niche. Um, outside of Mozzie Smith, I mean, I think it's just a lot of okay guys right now. We're still looking for that guy that kind of pops off the screen, and we think Anoma or Oki could be that kind of guy. But I think Mike is who he is. I mean, I think he plays hard. I think he's strong. But I'm not too. He's not someone I think about like, man, maybe he's playing the wrong position. I think he has the size to play the outside, and I don't think 290 is too big. I mean, I mean, if you want to say maybe 285, 270, 280 is more fit for it, fine. But he's 6'6", so that 290 on that height of a frame is not bad compared to if he was like 6'3" or something like that. So you gotta consider that as well in terms of his height.
Yeah, I think he's fine. I don't think he's too big to play the outside. I think him being that size gives you a couple of things. So number one, yeah, I think he is a very good defensive end. But also when you get into those packages of a pure passing situation, he's got the size where you can bump him down to a defensive tackle right? So you got Mozzie. You could throw Mike Morris in the middle, and then throw. Are we calling him Okie now, or no? What do we?
His name is Oki, so I'm gonna go by Oki. So it is
I
what
mean,
it
his
is.
name was not Okie when we talked about him after
I know,
Colorado
but
State, but
whatever.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. So, and then you can bring in Okie to be at that DN kind of pass rush position. So I think I think Mike Morris' size is a benefit because it gives you the ability to do a little bit more on the outside. So I don't think it is anything concerning at all. But Motown D Town, thank you so much for the super chat. Um, Wanted
Hey,
to
there's
address this.
someone. Wait, did you go about the AJ Henny thing? Okay, all right. Well, yeah, I've been. There was sprinkles of that. Doing Wednesday show about Eric All. I mean, nothing's been officially announced, so I'm not going to really expand on it more. If it is true, that's a huge loss. That's a team captain. That's a very good all around tight end, catching and in blocking. He's no Brock Bowers, but he is good.
No one is Brock Bowers.
Did you see that? Did you guys see that run today? I don't think I've ever seen it. I know I've been a prisoner of the moment. I don't know if I've ever seen a more athletic tight end. This guy is an absolute freak. You don't see tight ends like off. What was that? Tight end reverse? Like
Like a jet sweep, yeah.
a jet sweep for a tight end. I mean, oh my god. I mean, you don't see tight end, dude. Whatever. I mean, if I was a team, it's rare. I say draft a tight end in the top 5, but he might be worth it. Just saying. Um, but anyway, and I think he's a sophomore, isn't he? So wasn't he a
Bowers,
freshman
yeah,
last
he was a
year?
true freshman last year. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Dude, I was drooling over Brock Bowers from the moment Alabama was getting ready to play him. And I'd mentioned him to you multiple times. Like, you can't cover him. He is impossible to cover. And Alabama ended up winning that game, and I continued. He's impossible to cover. If Georgia would just throw him the ball, no one can cover him. He's that good. He really is that good. Slade the Expectation says, "What do you guys think about Jim not playing Stokes again after the fumble?" I mean, we talked about it. I mean, it's too close of a game for us to roll the dice. Unfortunately, with you fumbling on one carries, unfortunately, putting you back in there is rolling the dice. And
Yeah.
Michigan won, by 7 today. But if we put in, Stokes again and he fumbles the ball again, I get it. The odds of it are super low, but also too, Blake Corum. I mean, he finished with averaging 8.1 yards a carry.
Yeah,
Why
they
would you
could
take that guy off the field? You
they
know what I
couldn't
mean?
tackle him. And another thing about Blake is that I mean his ability to stop on a dime and change direction is elite, but also his vision, man. I mean, um, I think that's one thing even more apparent this year. His vision is fantastic. To be able to see a hole, be able to see it break out. I mean, both game breaking touchdowns he had today was recognizing the defense is totally committing to the inside and cutting outside and taking it the distance. I mean, he is the legitimate home run threat. I mean, I worried about like due to his size, could he be a bell cow? But due to, like you said, that he doesn't really take a lot of hard hits. I mean,
Correct.
he might be able to be the bell cow, especially if Donovan Edwards is going to be dealing with something throughout this year. So, but they definitely need Donovan Edwards back. But still, it was great to see. I did want to comment on something I saw about, I noticed AJ Henning was not out there as much on offense. I think the only time I saw him was when he caught a kick return. Um, and that is interesting. I'm not exactly sure that why he was not out there as much compared to previous weeks. They were using him like very similar, in a Debo role in
Hmm.
terms of sometimes he'll be in the backfield as a running back, sometimes he'll be in the slot. So I don't know. He definitely is on the field, so it can't be a health issue. Um, it's probably a play calling. It has to be play calling. So, I saw Andrew Anthony make an appearance today. Got a catch.
Yeah, I think they
um,
missed him in the back of the end zone on one throw.
it, yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, but
It's
look.
good to, you know what, man? I don't love talking negatively about any like particular guys, but I was talking to a friend who actually would like to be on the stream one time, so we'll see how that goes. But I just told him, I'm like, with how last year went at the receiver role and Ronnie getting injured, first, second game of the season, like I just expected more from Cornelius Johnson.
Yeah.
And I even today, like he had 3 catches for 27 yards. And there was one play in particular, it wasn't a catch, but it was when like JJ kind of threw kind of a 50-50 ball. I just, for me, and maybe I am asking for too much, but I would just love to see him perform better. Like just go get the, you know what I mean? Like go get the ball. Like it's a
You
50-50
want to see him
ball. You
make a
got to be
play. You want to
aggressive.
see him make a play. You want to see him
Yeah,
make a
man.
play.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's tough. You know what I mean? Like
You,
because I think he can do it. I
yeah.
think he can do it. And maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just off,
But you know what
but
you saw,
I just
Des?
would have loved to see him do a little more.
Yeah. But you know who did make a play today? Your senior leader, Ronnie Bell.
Yes.
Ronnie Bell made some big time plays today. He did what his role is as the most senior guy on his team. When they need a big time play, there one really good shot down the field. It went to him, and it was actually back to back plays in which he caught the ball. So, um, yeah, I can't say enough about good about him, man. So where Cornelius Johnson has not quite, at least it has appeared thus far, it could change off the course of the year, has not taken a step forward. Having Ronnie Bell back has at least given his team at least someone they can trust consistently on the outside. So, look, you will hope throughout the course of the year more guys tend to show themselves up, show themselves. Look, and I didn't finish this thought. We were talking about Eric All. Look, Shoemaker, or Shoemaker,
Hmm.
or however you say his name. I think it's like that. Um,
Yeah.
he has showed himself to be very adequate at the position. Caught a touchdown today. He's run blocking well. I think he had 6 or 7 catches today. So
Yeah.
I would not, I wouldn't go as far as say that they won't miss Eric All. You certainly will. But I feel pretty confident as long as Shoemaker is out there that they have a very reliable target in the tight end position. So that's a good thing.
Correct.
That if Eric All is gone, that all is not lost at that position.
I would like you to address the comment that I have highlighted. Mark
I don't know
Spandiola
how to address that. I
says
don't
it
know.
was a
A
big win
contender of
against
what?
the contender.
A
Dre,
contender of
your
what?
thoughts?
What? Fourth place in the Big Ten East, fifth place in the
No,
Big Ten
I
East.
mean a contender. I would think a contender for winning the Big Ten.
Mark, don't do that to yourself. Now let's pump the brakes here, baby. Now look. See, this is what we do sometimes as fans, where when our team is struggling, we're in a game that we don't understand, that we try to rationalize it with. Sometimes we try to pull things. Don't make Maryland into something they're not. Now look, I said it earlier. Maryland is better than we thought. They are certainly better than they were last year. So let's not elevate Maryland to being some kind of 9-10 win football team. They are not. Okay.
So D2K2 says if Maryland is 6-1 in 3 weeks, we will look at this game different. Now, I have pulled up Maryland's schedule for the next 3 weeks. They are home against Michigan State on October 1st. Then they are home against Purdue. Then they are away to Indiana. Are you going to look at Maryland any different if they are 6-1?
No,
Then
no, because Michigan's better than Maryland, and I believe Michigan is still even if that is the case, I still believe that Michigan is at least a two touchdowns better than Maryland. I believe that wholeheartedly. On paper, we are definitively better team. That's just what it is. Now that's not to say that Maryland's bad. Like I think the answer is more in the middle. It's they're better than they were last year. They had a winning season last year. So what were they, 7-5? They can flirt with 8 to 9 wins this year. Fine. You want to say a good year for them is going 9-3? Fine. I think Michigan is a 10 to 11 win team at the least, or 10 win team. We're a better
dude,
team than them,
I'm
so it
looking at
doesn't really
Maryland's
matter.
schedule. They goodness gracious. I mean, this does not get any easier. So you get home Michigan State, home Purdue, at Indiana, home Northwestern. You got to travel to Wisconsin, but you have a bye week before that. Then you have at Penn State, home to Ohio State, and then home to Rutgers. I mean, goodness gracious. Even if you say they lose the
But the thing
Wisconsin, Penn
is,
State, Ohio State, that's 4 losses.
this like, and then another thing too, where you got the way you got to look at it, guys, is that you don't have to look at just Maryland. Michigan did not play well themselves. Like we did not play well. through majority of
Correct.
the game. Now, there
Correct.
were bright spots, but if you just look at how Michigan played, they did not play well. So that's why I'm like, okay, I'm not going, oh, Maryland's, oh my God, maybe they're good. They may be better. I'm not ready to say that they're good. They may be solid, right? Not bad, not good, solid. Okay. But that doesn't excuse the performance today. I still think Michigan themselves had a C plus B minus game. They did
Mm-hmm.
not play well. Joe Clark
Correct.
even said it. They did not play well today. Is what it is. Now they survived, which is great. And I still believe all their goals are in front of them. Absolutely. But they have a lot to work on. So just be careful of doing that. I know that today was ugly, but that doesn't mean we have to elevate Maryland to something they're not. Now they may not be bad like they used to be, but they're not a contender. They're not a big boy yet. Just saying.
Yeah. And I think, like I said, ultimately you got the win, so you're living to fight another day. You should have played better, but you didn't. So at the end of the day, you got through it, right? So you had
Mm-hmm.
like you said, a B plus C minus game, or a B minus C plus game, whatever the case. But you're learning, right? You're not having to learn with a loss. You're learning things. Although you have still were able to overcome those things, and you still are gonna win the game. So
Right.
overall, I'm not gonna go crazy, but Michigan's got work to do. As before, even last week we were here on Saturday. Michigan had work to do after last week's game,
Yeah.
and today is no different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you always have things to work on, no matter what. So Michigan will be fine. Will get ready for Iowa if they score if Michigan can get a safety. That is all it will take to beat Iowa. 2 points is all you will need. Uh,
A
but
lot of Maryland. My God, shut up, man. I'm sure. I am guessing. I'm not announcing it. I'm sure we're going to see Corey this week. If I was to
we
guess.
are gonna see Corey this week. Yes,
So,
and I'm excited to chat with Corey too.
yes, yes, me too. It'll be interesting to see his spin on Iowa's chances. But it's
Here's what I can tell you. Corey is very low on Iowa right now. He is low, very low on Iowa right now. But
well,
anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, no, no, you're good. I mean, look, yeah, there's a lot of Maryland love in our chats right now. Like, I think Maryland's going to like. Look, guys, I can't help you if you think if today has convinced you like that Maryland is now some serious player in the Big Ten
Thanks,
East. I don't
Ken.
know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Once again, I'm not disrespecting them. I think they're a very solid team. But they got a long ways to go.
But here's my and I started the stream off this way. My issue is our viewers told us, and this was and maybe we have a poll or something, but our viewers were convinced this was going to be a 47-10 game, blowout. No, not even going to have to worry about it, so on and so forth. So I just, like I said, I would like consistency in what we do. If we're going to say that Maryland is that bad, we're 37 points better, then you shouldn't. Then with a 7 point win, you should be happy with winning. But you
Yeah.
shouldn't make it seem as if all of a sudden Maryland got better. Like, did they get some 5 stars in the
Oh, we
transfer
just survived
portal
a contender.
to
It's just use the word contender. When you say contender, you're talking about like, you know, they're
that
gonna
changes a
be
lot.
yeah, like no, 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 they're not a contender. Now they may be a pain in the butt. You can say
Hmm.
that. They may be respectable. You can say that. Because I think both of those words, being especially respectable, is an upgrade for what they've been since they joined the Big Ten. They used to be a
Yeah.
walking mat here in the Big Ten.
I mean,
If
what?
they
Michigan
become
dropped, what, 59 on them last
yeah,
year?
if
I
they
mean,
become respectable, say they're respectable now, yeah. That because when you become respectable, that means that you can shock and maybe you do get an upset here and there. You definitely make teams sweat. So I mean, look, I mean that's very possible. But look, um, I sound like a broken record, but look, it was a lot of good today, but they survived, and that's what it's about, man. You pick yourself up. Big Ten opener. Start of fall, whatever narrative we're gonna throw in there. You got to the game, you survived it. Things didn't go very smoothly, but you figured it out on both sides of the ball. I thought defensively you definitely got better in the second half. I did not like that very last drive that just kind of gave up points. I thought they got a little bit too soft with their coverage, especially given the situation. Um, like, look, guys, I know we're up 2 touchdowns here, but still is a minute and 40 left. All they need is a touchdown and get an onside, and they can get the ball back with a chance to tie. I felt it was a little bit too soft, but it worked out. So defensively, I actually would say this: I'm a lot more concerned defensively than I am offensively. But we'll see. We'll see. They definitely still show signs of progress.
Middle Tennessee is up 17-3 on Miami.
I don't have any. I guess Josh Gaddis is having a hard time using his, in that playbook.
No, they told us Mario Cristobal was just terrific. Actually, I do think it's the offense. I think it's Gaddis. But Teddy Rich, thank you so much for the super chat. Put Mary dropped 8 deep. We should have just ran crossing routes or dropped Corum out the backfield. Y'all want to do this? Okay, cool. We'll do this. And I had flashbacks 2 years ago while we were running 2nd and 7.
Well, what I noticed. Let me comment on that real quick. Especially coming out the halftime, when Harbaugh gets uncomfortable and when he wants to get control of the game, he goes very, very run heavy because in his mind, it's very clear. It's like we need to assert our dominance. We need to take control. And I felt like I had to go back and look at the play sequence, but they ran 6 or 7 straight running plays before they passed to start the second half. But they went 3 and out, if I'm not mistaken, their first possession in the second half or something like that. And they were all running plays. And I felt that was Harbaugh. Like, look, let's just try to do what we do. We know that we can run a football on them. Let's do that, trying to wear them down, and maybe we'll open it back up again. So I think that this is Harbaugh's thing. That's his comfort zone. That's his MO. While all else fails, we're going to run the football. We're going to wear out the defense, the other team's defense, give our defense a break, and then things will open up from there. I think that's his forte. That's what he does,
So Slade, the expectation says, well, which is it, host? Is Maryland better or is Michigan worse? Dre, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think Maryland's better. I've seen.
And you're not saying Maryland is better than Michigan. You're saying Maryland is better than what we thought they were.
Right. Maryland is better. Yeah. Exactly. Maryland's better than what we thought they were. Maryland is definitively better than they were last year. Now, I'm not sure if Michigan is worse than they were last year. I think they're different. They're obviously different. And we talked about that going back to this past offseason. They were not going to win with the exact same formula that they won last year because the makeup of their roster is different. The makeup of their more seasoned and more important players is different. So they're going to have to win a little bit differently this year. So now, rather, can Michigan do that? Can they have the same or better results while having a different formula? We will see. If they don't, if it's evident that they can't, then I would say they are worse this year. But I'm not exactly sure yet. That's still playing itself out. But I've seen enough from Maryland to say they're definitely better.
Yeah. And that would be my thought. Like, yes, Maryland is better. But the point isn't is Maryland better or Michigan worse. The point is we were here Wednesday and the chat was full of 47-10, 40, like, you know what I mean? The chat was full of blowout talk. That's the point. And yes, there was someone had mentioned, like, JJ missed a couple deep throws, and if they hit that, the game's different. Correct. But also too, there's teams. I'm sure Texas A&M is thinking it had, X, Y, and Z happen, we wouldn't have lost to App State, right? But you did. So you know what I mean? Like you just got to live with what you have, like the actual information that you have. So it is what it is at the end of the day. Like I said, I don't think it's anything to panic about. But as last week we said, Michigan has things to work on. And this week is no different. Michigan has things to work on. And it doesn't matter if Michigan did win 47-10 today. They would still have things to work on. Like, you know what I mean? It never changes.
And guess what? We will bring it up. I know some people like, don't bring up the things you need to work on. Just talk about the good. Look, No. Our job is to come in here and talk about what we see, both good and bad, and we're going to
Hmm.
do that regardless, guys. It doesn't mean that we're saying all is lost. I still think Michigan's in a really good position. But you know what? Today was a learning day.
Hmm.
I'm glad that they had a day. In fact, I text Des. Now it was a little bit more of a test than I wanted, that I bargained for. But I
Are we
text
gonna
Des.
get a freaking test? So you
Yes,
basically texted me that right after the fumble, and then Michigan throws, as
yes.
a touchdown in like 2 seconds.
Yes, because I'm like,
Yes.
all right, come on, Maryland, please. We want a little bit of a test today. Now you're beating yourselves already with like that. It's like, no, I wanted a test because I wanted to learn more about this team. I think this team needs to learn more about itself, right? So today there is
Hmm.
definitely good in how today's game played out.
Yes.
But if it did play out this way, we have to discuss the reasons why.
Right. And also too, I want to be very clear. I feel the same way about Michigan as I did Wednesday, as I did last Saturday in preseason. There's no reason this team shouldn't be, well, this team shouldn't have the expectations of a national championship. I get it. Like, yeah, you as a coach, you want to be careful with that of just kind of talking about way down the line. But nonetheless, like this, there, like, show me a team that is flawless. Let's take Georgia out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of that, outside of that, show me a team that's flawless. And you know what I mean? And you can't show me that. And what I will show you is Michigan has a legitimate chance to be in the Final Four and a legitimate chance to win a national championship. Now you got to get over, and it's not a mountain. It's Mount Kilimanjaro. It's the biggest mountain ever in Georgia, as of right now. But also too, Dre. I mean, think about the times that we have been rolling through a season, and early on there is a clear cut favorite, and then that team falls, right? And then things kind of change, right? That changes everything. So even in that, like, there's no guarantee. But I think when you look at the recipe, we've talked about a high level quarterback, right? That's a prerequisite to get to the college football playoff. You got that. And then on top of it, you've got weapons on the outside. You got weapons in the backfield. You got an O-line that is there. Your defense is making plays today. You've got multiple guys on Bruce Feldman's freak list, right? Freak athlete. And these guys are, and it's not just the freak athletes that are on the bench. No, it's these guys are freak athletes and they could play football. Like, you like, show me what you don't have. You got Jake Moody, who is a finalist. Like, you literally have everything that you would potentially need for a championship run. So I don't feel any different than I did before the season started, before you played any games. But they've got things to work on, as every team does. So that's where I'm at. 89 Dr.
So,
Funk, thank you so much for the super chats. I just wanted to show you guys some love, flex on them. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Mr. Jones, it's like a super chat. Better test than OSU. I don't know what that means. Like,
Is this a better test than OSU?
is Maryland a better test than Ohio State?
I mean, when it comes to a test, I mean, I'd rather have a test before the final, right? Like that. I mean, that's
Yeah, I don't.
essentially what what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
So
I don't. I'm just gonna say no because if it's rather if this we definitely haven't been tested like OSU is. I mean, OSU had to play Notre Dame. Say what you want about them. I still think Notre Dame's better than anything Michigan has faced. Some people say Maryland's better than Notre Dame. I'm not sure I'm ready to go there yet. We'll see. I don't know. Um, and they got Wisconsin tonight, and
Well, and
I don't
also
know.
too, I mean, Ohio State has potentially the number one drafted quarterback, soon to be drafted quarterback in the NFL. They've
Yeah.
got probably the wide receiver one in this coming NFL draft who's on the bench injured, and then two guys who are high level. Like, no, come on, no.
Oh, better than Notre
This,
Dame. Mr. Jones saying better than Notre Dame. No, I don't think so. Look, I don't know. It's
so
tough,
it
guys,
is Ohio.
because
Hold on. What's the question? Kind of,
he's saying is Notre
is
Dame
Maryland
a
a
good?
better test than Notre Dame?
Yes, and
Got it.
I
I
can't
would
say
actually say
that. No,
yes. I would say yes.
Possibly. I don't know. I mean, Notre Dame is kind of a mess right now, but they're still Notre Dame. I just still, I think if I had to, I don't know about you guys, if I had to pick between a one-on-one matchup between Maryland and Notre Dame, I have to go out of comfort, just out of pure comfort, Notre Dame. Now, I know Notre Dame has looked great this year, but I still think they find a way to win. I think physically, talent-wise, they're better than Maryland, but we'll
Look,
see. I
who's
mean, I
their
think it's close.
quarterback though? Like that,
I
you know what I
know.
mean?
I
Like
get it.
you're not winning
Yeah,
any
I
games
get
if
it.
you can't score 21 points. Like,
No, I get
come
it.
on.
I get it. No, I get it. It is probably close. I don't know. It's a close, close, you know, debate, toss up between the two. But I don't. At the end of the day, Mr. Jones, not to skip your question, but you want to say Michigan is better. Um, excuse me, Maryland's better than OSU, a better test than Notre Dame, then fine. Um, Michigan's still passed that test, and actually Ohio State passed their test too, and they also struggle with. Um, you know, I guess we'll kind of go from there. I mean, we'll see throughout the course of the year how good Maryland projects to be and how good Notre Dame does as well, and we'll have a better, I guess, gauge on that question.
This might just be a wild day of college football. Tulsa is up 14-7 on Ole Miss right now. This is wild. Any other crazy? Washington State's up 10-3 on Oregon right now. Let's see here. Cincinnati's up on Indiana 17-3. Minnesota's up 17-0 on Michigan State. Man, they're going to be in some trouble if they lose that game. Notre Dame,
No,
North Carolina
look,
7-7.
I'm watching the game, and Mel Tucker is sweating bullets, man.
Oh,
Oh my
he's
god.
always sweating bullets.
Yeah, I know, but it's just. I will say this about Sparty. I don't care how bad they look. You can never count those
Oh,
guys
don't
out.
fall asleep. Do
You
not
never,
fall asleep.
you can never count those guys out. One thing I'll say about Mel Tucker, no matter how good his teams are, he always had those guys fighting. You have to tip your hat to him. As a Michigan fan, we know that. We saw it last year. Doesn't matter how far they're down. If there's one thing now, if there's one thing I want Michigan to learn, especially let's say State is having an off year, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what their record is. When we see them in October 29th, be ready for a dogfight because they always bring it. So, guys, well, we're going to kill Michigan State. Maybe we look like the better team, but never count those guys out.
Correct. Well, we're absolutely going to kill them while they're losing to somebody else. So, yeah, we're going to kill them for that.
Oh, for sure.
Um,
Yeah, I'm just saying, like in terms of when the time comes, you just never know with those guys.
yeah. And GOJ says, Mel got the bag already. And
He
he's
did.
absolutely correct. He is
He
absolutely
did.
correct.
Hey, man, look, that's the beautiful thing about being a player in NFL and being a coach in pretty much any capacity for college and NFL. Like if you're able to establish yourself, you get paid, man. And look, this isn't an MSU channel, but MSU was put to a situation where Mel is being rumored to other programs, and they feel like they had to pay him to keep him. And a lot of schools get in situations like that, so it is what it is. So
Is what it is.
not our problem.
Very true. Listen, everybody, we got 160 on the line right now. I just checked our likes. We got 41 thumbs up. Can you all give us a thumbs up, please? We're getting ready to wrap here. Michigan wins 34-27. They're alive. The undefeated, still unscathed. Got some things to work on. Have seen some good. Have seen some things to some areas of opportunity. If we're talking about a SWOT analysis, but they're fine. I think they'll be fine. There's some coaching points, some things that they can focus on this week. So I think they'll be fine. But please give us a thumbs up. And you guys have been crushing it already in just the time that I started that little soliloquy. So as always, we thank you guys so much in just you guys being here, your chats, your comments. We appreciate it so much. I think we talk the way that we do because we are so passionate about football and Michigan football, and we really enjoy doing this and doing what we do. So thank you guys so much. We greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it. We will be back here on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for about an hour or so. Talking Iowa, We may have Corey on. We haven't figured out all those logistics yet.
Guys, be nice. Be
Yeah.
nice. Don't.
I think if anybody needs to be nice, it's you, my friend.
Yeah.
You were extremely hard on Corey last year.
You're right.
So
You're right. No, you're right.
if anybody needs to be nice, it's you.
Play
Love you to
nice,
death,
guys.
but you need to be nice to Corey.
I wonder
Corey
who
is a
has been-
very good dude. He is a fan of Iowa. So I want to make sure that it's clear that when you have a team that you root for, like there's going to be some of the optimism. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's going to be that. And you could say, well, what do you have it to base that on? Optimism. Just I'm a fan. Like, crazy stuff happens.
Just pure love for my team.
What did App State have to base on, you know what I mean? Texas A&M winning? Nothing. Optimism.
Okay.
Just for
Yeah.
so, you know, is what it is. So you, Dre, I'm talking to you. I'm not responsible for our awesome viewers. I'm responsible for you.
He better come correct. Don't be coming on this channel talking that bull jive. Okay, don't. Long as he comes correct, I'm good with it. I got nothing to say. I had no problem saying Iowa's going to win, but I just don't.
Frank
don't
is correct. Iowa has integrity. That's right. They have integrity. Not their offensive coordinator, but the program itself has integrity. So
that's great. Well,
that is it for us. Thanks once again. Thanks again, everybody. We really appreciate it. Any parting words, Dre?
Survive and advance. They advanced today. Look, go into the film room, heal your wounds, and let's get ready for Iowa.
Absolutely. All right.
Peace,
that
guys.
is it for us. Peace.